Hello! Fruit of Grisaia. Welcome. This is the next visual novel called The Fruit of Grisaia. Okay, I'll start with from the beginning. Awesome. Intense sunlight blazes down on the road as if to declare the arrival of summer. The burning asphalt radiates heat mixing with the scent of the tide to form a thick, muggy atmosphere. It's way too early for this kind of weather, and when the temperature is abnormally high, you're always going to get some people who lose their heads and start acting erratically. Auto. Okay. In other words, it's only natural that the police would be on the lookout for suspicious types at times like these. Oh wow, I can do speed of auto. What? No way. Oh. Okay, it was about 10 minutes ago that I realized I'd been mistaken for one of those heartstroke adult sorts. Okay, well this is different. Sweat pouring from his forehead as he examines my license, the policeman in front of me takes a glance at the large backpack I'm carrying, then continues the background check. Awesome. So if I click it once, that turns it on, right? Okay, continue. Sweat pouring from his forehead as he examines my license, the policeman in front of me takes a glance at the large backpack I'm carrying, then continues the background check. Yes. I told you this 10 minutes ago. I'm moving. This luggage is everything I own. So there's something I noticed about the auto. It actually gives you more time to read it the higher you go. Like I said, I don't have one yet. The answer's not going to change no matter how many times you ask. It takes less time for it to show up on screen the higher you go. And then you get more time the lower you are, but as you go higher, you get less time. Okay. Where did you come from? Where are you going? What are you planning to do there? Depending on the context, these could be very philosophical questions, but as far as police inquiries go, they're pretty run-of-the-mill. Yeah. So after I'm done reading it, I get a little time before it goes on to the next one. From their perspective, anyone wandering around without clear-cut business is by default a criminal of some sort. Let alone someone like me carrying around conspicuous bulky luggage, it's as good as guaranteed that they'd stop me. That is their job, I suppose. Since this little scene acts as a crime deterrent through its visibility, it's not an entirely wasted effort. I've read a lot of visual novels now, but unfortunately I don't have all day to play along. I drop a glance toward the digital watch I'm wearing around my left wrist. Sorry, but I'm keeping someone waiting. I really can't spare any more time for hanging out with bored cops. A bored police force is proof that the city is at peace. Take it as a compliment. Inexplicably taking offense at my tone, the policeman clicks his tongue in irritation and tosses my license back. I refuse. I don't rely on blades. Policy of mine. Look, are you really telling me to unpack all this on the spot? It'll take an hour at least. 30 minutes just to take it all out. 30 minutes to stuff it back in. Yeah, a lot of words. I'm just a fast reader. I just told you I don't have the time. I can't accept voluntary questioning. I know you can't just back down in this situation, but if I say I'll head over there myself later, could we wrap this up for now? As I've explained, I'm in the middle of a move. I vacated my old place, so I don't have an address. I don't have any parents, no siblings or relatives either. They're all dead. Oh no, that's not good. This is going nowhere. Then at least let me call the person I'm supposed to be meeting. At this rate, they'll be waiting all day. I'm not going to tell you that. It's your mother. We had an appointment at a hotel tonight.
Huh?
I was keeping quiet out of the goodness of my heart. You dragged it out of me, so don't blame me when your parents get divorced and your happy home is shattered, bro. About 30 meters away from where we're talking, someone screams. A desperate cry falls within seconds. A woman sits collapsed on the street, stretching out her hand. Her high heels lie on the ground, knocked off her feet by the sudden fall. Just about halfway between us, there's a man in a flashy Hawaiian shirt running in this direction. Although the thief flinches for a moment at the sight of the policeman's uniform, after a quick check for any convenient side streets, he barrels onward. Brandishing the stolen bag menacingly, his hand violently gestures, "Out of my way!" The cop is completely flustered. He's quite clearly unaccustomed to this sort of situation. While he's panicking, the distance between us and the thief shrinks with surprising swiftness. The man runs in a straight line toward a breakthrough to freedom. I happen to be standing directly in the middle of his path. As he prepares to strike with the bag, I ascertain the movement of his shoulder and arm from the first signs of motion and hit his wrist sharply just as he begins to swing. The man's arm instantly stiffens and loses all momentum. His eyes pop wide open in shock. I immediately grab the collar of the Hawaiian shirt he's wearing and firmly draw him toward me. Before the man can offer resistance to my pull, I smoothly reverse and use my body weight to shove against him. When pushed, just as they've begun to brace themselves against being pulled, anyone except a genuine expert is going to be thrown off balance. Nice shirt. Where'd you buy it? Shock spreads across the man's face as his knees buckle against his will. I try to gain a chokehold using my grip on the neck of his shirt, but... The man promptly draws his head back and shifts his body to the side, preventing me from winding a hold on his neck. Although I expected as much from a glance at his build, it seems like he's somewhat experienced in judo. But in this case, you would have been better off trying a decisive tackle. Rotating around the purse snatcher in the opposite direction of his slide, I yank his right arm upward with both hands. In one movement, I've circled to his back. Yay. Next, pull back on the opponent's wrist and elbow and pin him to the ground. This is just basic Aikido, by the way. Hey now, you've got your priorities all wrong. Before worrying about me, you should kill the guy who sold you that shirt. Perhaps unconsciously, the man's now empty right hand desperately slaps at the asphalt. While holding the thief pinned, I quickly shoot a look behind me. Don't just stand there. The policeman jerks up straight in response to my angry shout. Taking a pair of handcuffs from the pouch around his waist, he runs over to restrain the criminal. The purse snatcher seems to have resigned himself to his fate and doesn't offer any pointless resistance. He accepts his red-handed arrest for theft docilely, then sits quietly on the ground with his head hung as the policeman radios for backup. Apparently they weren't too far off, as a siren approaches in no time. Two policemen get out of their arriving cruiser and push the criminal into the back seat. As I'm quietly watching the scene in perfect passivity, the policeman from earlier runs over. I'll pass on the letter of thanks, so how about letting me move on?
そうもいかんのですよ。宣告の件も含めて、できれば改めて署でお話を聞かせていただきたいのですが。
Figured as much. Shaking my head in exasperation, I silently rebuke myself. Should have just left it alone. As the policeman pushes at my bag, a glance at my wristwatch informs me that I'm already 5 minutes late for my meeting. I do like that it gives you a little extra time after you're done. 30 minutes had passed since I was brought to the interrogation room, familiar as the place where criminals break into flop sweat and TV dramas. If I get done early, then I kind of just wait until the next wines appear. I'm sitting on a cheap foldable pipe chair, my arms folded in perfect silence. But it is a little relaxing too.
いつまで経っても帰れないぞ。誰かと待ち合わせをしているんだろ。さっさと話して終わらせた方がいいんじゃないか。
Instead of responding, I close my eyes, a silent statement indicating that I have absolutely no intention of opening my mouth. The detective clicks his tongue in exasperation at my attitude. I've got a pretty fair idea of what he'll be doing next. The sound of something being struck in an even louder attempt at intimidation. This is the point where a timid guy would be jumping in his seat with his eyes wide open, or maybe staring at the floor and quivering. I guess so. As for me, my eyes are still shut and my arms are still folded quietly. My mind is a total blank. I've been accustomed to adults chatting at me like this since I was a child. Following the threat stage, the next step would be for him to grip my hair and jolt me back and forth, but I'm dealing with an official authority group here. I should get off without direct violence this time. Not to say that they won't pull out the old TV cliches and harass me by shining a desk lamp in my eyes or something of the sort. I can roughly translate the detective's sigh. Kids these days. I gently open my eyes in order to sneak a look at his disgusted face. The detective sitting in front of me seems to be challenging the Guinness World Record for the most dramatic asymmetry between the left and right sides of a human mouth, or maybe he's just scowling. Bro. When I let out a snort of laughter in response to the unexpectedly pleasant sigh, the detective scratches his head violently and glares at me. Dude, these MCs just assume the weirdest things sometimes. It won't gain you anything, but you won't lose anything either, except your time. I turn my gaze to the clock on the wall of the sweatbox. An hour has already passed since the scheduled time for my meeting. The detective strikes the desk with excellent comic timing. The best part is the way he knocks his ashtray off the table every time he does this. His tone distinctly fed up, he stoops down to pick the plastic tray off the floor. Kazami, Yuuji, occupation, student. Kazami, Yuuji, occupation, student. Kazami, Yuuji, occupation, student. First it's say something, now it's shut up, talk about hard to please. Our capricious detective scowls yet again and scratches his head. Flakes of dandruff drift grandly through the air. Capricious. Based on his thoroughly wrinkled suit and heavy stubble, I say he hasn't been home in days. Another sigh. It's enough to make me want to heave one myself. Because we both take our work seriously, it seems like we're stuck going around in circles.
さっきのひったくり事件の取り調べも進まないし、厄介なの捕まえたよまったく。
Just as we roughly complete this exchange of one-sided bitterness and mutual glaring, there's a well-timed knock at the door and the sound of it being unlocked.
Hi. あ、お疲れ様です。
A slightly plump elderly detective enters the room. Given the respectful tone of the detective I've been chatting with, he's probably a superior of some sort.
どうかしましたか？はい。
After a quick glance in my direction, the elderly detective whispers something into the younger man's ear. Before long, the younger detective turns toward me with a decidedly nonplussed expression.
釈放だとお疲れさん。
Why now, all of a sudden?
それはこっちから聞いてくれ。それじゃあな。
With those parting words, the young detective leaves the room. The elderly detective watches him go and then faces me with a greasy smile.
いやー、すみませんでしたね、風見さん。こちらに連絡が行っていなかったようで。先ほどようやっとあなたの身元保証人の方と連絡が取れた次第でして。
The detective stares at me with eyes like a dead fish.
市ヶ谷の関係者なら最初からそう言っていただかないと。
If you'd known I was from Ichigaya from the start, wouldn't you have thrown me in jail, stripped me naked, and sprayed me down with a hose?
まさかまさかご冗談を。うちは天下の桜だもんですよ。
I do not want to think about them doing that. Just to let you know, I'm nothing but a student. My work at Ichigaya is only a part-time cleaning job.
掃除ですか。なるほどね。うまいことおっしゃいますな。さすがはインテリさんの集まりだ。
In response to my words, the detective twists his mouth into something vaguely resembling a smile.
いやー、ですからね。そちらさんもそんなご事情ならば、もっと早く言っておいていただければよかったんですが、ご存知かと思いますが、上があれですから、いろいろとややこしくてね。
Sarcasm drifting from every pore of his body, the detective treats me with transparently insincere courtesy. He's perfectly civil on a superficial level, but the atmosphere in here is growing increasingly unpleasant. The younger detective from before, hard that he was, seems infinitely preferable. Did you inquire to Ichigaya about me?
いいえね。あなたのお名前をデータベースで検索させたんですがね。検索している最中に電話が鳴りまして、受話器を上げてみたら防衛省の特別の機関からのお電話でして。うちの犬がそちらで保護されていないかと聞きましてね。いや、驚きましたよ、実際。うちは保健所じゃありませんからね。
Since you found my owner and confirmed that my leash is properly attached, I should be able to leave now, right?
どうぞご自由に。ああ、そうそう。あなたが今度転入なさる学園の学園長からもこちらに連絡がありましたよ。
That's so.
なかなかいらっしゃらないからと近隣の署に片っ端から連絡を入れたそうですよ。おかげでうちの所長も会議の途中で電話に引っ張られたようでして、散々闇を言われたと言っておりました。
Where's my backpack?
お預かりした荷物は玄関に出してありますので、そちらで。なんでしたらうちの車でお送りしましょうか。
You're not getting funds from public taxes in order to chauffeur bums like me around, are you? I'll walk. After I'm urged out the door by the old man, the young detective appears from the rear carrying the backpack they'd taken from me earlier.
とんでもない重さだな、これは。一体何が入ってるんだ？
Bit of a tough question. I guess you could say my wife.
ギャグだとしたら出来は悪いぞ。
That wasn't really what I was going for.
まあ、そんなことはどうでもいい。ちょっと。
Dropping the backpack next to me, the detective lets out a slight sigh. Thanks for lugging it out here. Pretty heavy, isn't it?
仕事で柔道やってるような人間に言う言葉じゃないな。田舎の警察とはいえ、その辺は仕込まれてる。
True, guess that's natural for a policeman. Sorry. The detective smiles wryly.
なあ、お前、埋め立て地の学生なんだってな。
I'm wearing the school uniform, you can see at a glance.
制服が着られているって感じだがな。
He grasps my shoulder as we pass each other.
気をつけてな、いろんな意味で。
With those parting words, he heads back into the police station. Guess I don't make a convincing student yet. I'm wearing black slacks and a short-sleeved dress shirt, as well as a blue tartan check necktie. Excluding my somewhat longish hair, I should be the very image of a student. I don't know. I guess it's a little difficult turning into something like that all of a sudden. But it's probably precisely because this is difficult that I decided to give it a try. For a while, I myself didn't understand why I'd asked for this, but now I think I have a faint grasp on the reason. I wanted to become something that I couldn't understand, something that I wasn't. At the moment, I've done nothing but smooth down my edges a bit. Perhaps later on, I'll become a student on the inside as well. The sun that had been climbing upward earlier has now finally reached its zenith. The temperature keeps on rising and sweat oozes from my skin. I was pretty sure she picked me up, but... Sensing a presence, I lower my gaze from the sun. My eyes, well accustomed to high contrast lighting, project a human form in silhouette for only the briefest of moments before the details fade in. A woman raising an awkward salute, grinning broadly, stands before my eyes. Spare me, I don't want to see a pose like that outside the workplace. In the first place, what's with that dopey salute? The girls in bikinis on the Maritime SDF recruitment posters have more impressive form.
早速のお仕事をねぎらってるのに。
I don't recall contributing enough to society today to deserve any appreciation.
はいはい、来た早々とんでもない目にあったのはわかるけど、八つ当たりはしないでちょうだい。そんなことより。
She opens the door of the car stopped next to her.
乗って。目的を遂行する方が最優先でしょ。
Yeah, true enough. From Mishima Cape Police Station to National Highway number 133 southbound, we proceed to the prefectural highway and advance further out toward the Cape. A range of slowly rotating wind turbines come into view, indicating our proximity to the sea.
びっくりしたのよ。時間になっても現れないし、これは何かあったんだって連絡したら案の定警察の厄介になってるし。この暑さだから熱射病で倒れてるのかと思っちゃった。
I doubt you really thought I was sick.
どうしてそんなことが言えるの？
You were trying the police stations first, not the hospitals.
そりゃあなたのことだからぶっ倒れる前に何とかするとは思ったけど、一応体のこと気遣ってるんだから素直に聞けばいいのに。
Accuracy in weather forecasts and interpersonal communications make society run smoother.
可愛くない。
Pounding again, she continues her harangue.
第一、ここにだって本数は少ないけど電車は通ってるんだから、それで来ればよかったのに歩いてきちゃうんだもん。それも聞いてびっくりしたのよ。ヒマラヤにでも登るような大荷物背負ってるって。
Sorry, I hate trains.
だからって歩いてくるなんて常識外れよ。どうしたの？黙っちゃって。
Could you not mention this to the other students? I don't want them getting funny ideas about me from the get-go.
変なのが来たって警戒されるかもね。確かに。
I got enough of that from the police to last me a while.
やっぱり職質受けてたのね。はい、着いたわ。ここよ。
The car proceeded about 500 meters along an area of reclaimed coastal land before she brought it to a stop. So that's what he meant by landfill, I see. As I'm recalling the words of the detective from before, the woman continues our conversation with a suddenly cheerful tone.
どう？立派でしょ。この近隣の学校の中では一番新しいのよ。
Very nice. Barrow even looks like a school. Although I'd heard it was a new school, its external appearance genuinely isn't what I had expected. A 3-story building, the pure white color of the outer walls, is the only typical school-like element, with every other aspect more closely resembling a city office building. The gates to the right and left are less evocative of a school gate than a functional fence at some facility. The mounted signboard, likewise, is a utilitarian thing, printed in a simple typeface rather than a hand-drawn work of calligraphy.
これからここがあなたの母校になるのよ。 感慨深くない？
I've only just arrived at this place. If I said I was deeply moved by the sight, it'd be a lie.
味もそっけもない。人間想像力が大事なのよ。
With an exaggerated sigh, she opens her hands wide in the overbold gesture of a third-rate actor.
新設校だからあまり学校のイメージがないかもしれないけど、学生だってちゃんと普通のいい子たちがいるのよ。だから
Her mural is abruptly interrupted by the high-pitched shrieks of two girls.
やめなさいマキナ。やめなさいってお願いだから。あまねなんで逃げるの？セミかわいいよ。虫は大嫌いな。むせ返るほど笑ってんじゃないわよマキナ。あんた後で覚えてなさいよ。おやつ抜きにするんだから。その、普通の
Normal, could you define that term? Is there a class where we chase each other around brandishing insects?
違うのよ。あの子たちはそのね、わかるでしょ？
I don't think I do, but it's nice to see that it's a lively school.
でしょ？とりあえず行きましょうか。
Having apparently forgotten what she was planning to do with her outspread hands, she totters through the school gate. Her office is positioned quite near the school building's front entrance. The furniture is nicely arranged, based around an old-fashioned desk and chair. In contrast to the incongruity of the building's external appearance, this room is a textbook example of the old-fashioned principal's office. I sit on the genuine leather sofa that's one of the room's more prominent furnishings. After waiting for me to settle myself, she lowers herself into the seat across from me.
学園長の立花千鶴です。ようこそ美浜学園へ。はじめまして。それとも、お久しぶりねの方がいいかしら、風見くん。
On a practical level, nice to meet you might be the better option.
そっか。そうね、確かに。
With a slight amused smile, Principal Tachibana takes out a pamphlet.
まあ、あなたのことだからもう概要は知ってるとは思うけど、一応説明はしておくわ。
She flips past a couple pages of the brochure. I hadn't noticed, but her fingernails are lightly polished.
ここは学校法人榊学園の運営する私学の学園で、全国から選ばれた学生たちを集めて日々勉学に励んでいるの。榊学園の母体は関東一円に私鉄網を持つ東浜急行電鉄グループ。その資金力をもって最高の設備と教職員を揃えているわ。まず
The principal's talk shifts to more detailed matters. The East Beach Express is an enormous corporate group with its hands in real estate and large-scale retail, but its core business is the management of the rail line connecting Tokyo and Mineta Airport. The EBE's management is shouldered by the Sakaki family, and it seems possible that the Sakaki Academy Corporation is also administered by them directly, but that's only a guess based on circumstantial evidence. There's a lack of public information on this secretive corporation's activities. The very existence of this academy isn't well known. I didn't gain anything that could be called definitive proof from my investigations so far.
あなたは2年生として学園に入ってもらいます。早速明日のホームルームで転校のことをお知らせするから、それ以降は自由に振る舞って構わないわ。
Her fingers come to a stop. Bring her hands gently together. The principal raises her gaze from the pamphlet and meets my eyes.
どう？あなたのお望み通り、普通の学園生活を送るには最適の環境だと思うけど。
I have a few questions.
どうぞ。
First, today is a weekday, but there was barely anyone on the school grounds. What's going on?
少数精鋭なのよ。学生数はあなたを入れて6人だけなの。
Only 6?
そうよ。
The elite few?
ええ。
That include our friends with the cicada just now?
もちろん。
Question 2, where am I living from today on?
全寮制なの。後で学生寮の場所を案内します。そこからここに通ってちょうだい。
A dormitory, is it?
寮といっても十分な広さのある個室だから安心よ。
In that case, not a problem.
以上かしら。
Before we finish, one last thing.
はい、どうぞ。
For this last question only, I stare directly into her eyes. I need to confirm the principal's intentions in bringing me here. After all said and done, is this a normal school? The principal closes her mouth. After a moment of silence, she opens it again. A gentle smile. I'm convinced that she isn't lying to me to further some hidden self-interest.
あなたがあの時に言った希望、ちゃんと覚えているわよ。
The principal slowly stands up and walks to the window side. The athletic grounds are visible from the window. Although resembling those of a normal school, the grounds are skirted by an improbably high wall.
普通の学園に入って普通の学生生活が送りたい。
The mere handful of students, the bizarrely extravagant facilities, the on-campus dormitory, the high wall surrounding it all. They clearly indicate abnormality.
でもね、あなたも分かってると思うけど、あなた自身の境遇を考えると、ここしか条件に合うところがなかったのよ。
I guess you're right.
私はあくまでもここは普通の学園だとあなたに言います。
The principal turns to face me.
だからあなたもここで普通に過ごしてくれればいいわ。何かしてほしいとか私から言うことはありません。
Understood.
それじゃ 寮の方へ案内するわ。
Yeah. With a nod, I rise to my feet. On the grounds outside, a gust of salty sea air kicks up a cloud of sand.
ここが学生寮よ。管理室も含めると部屋数は全部で11。各部屋ごとにお風呂とトイレとキッチンが備え付けられてるから生活の心配はないわ。家具も一通り揃ってるしね。何キョロキョロしてるの？
The cicada pair from earlier don't seem to be around.
ああ、スオさんとイリスさんのことね。二人ともまだ学園に残っているのかもね。小峰さんもいないようだし。
That Komine guy a student here too?
うん、その子に寮の案内を頼んでいたんだけど姿が見えないから。
So you don't have a minute, minute grasp on the movements of the students, I see.
私はほら単なる学園長だから。
Merely, is it?
ちょっと待ってね。部屋にいるのかもしれないから。
The principal walks toward the interior of the building. Left there by myself, I stare vacantly up at the ceiling. Soon, I've unconsciously fallen into my habit of counting the number of visible sprinklers, then roughly estimating the scale of the building. Calculating the time needed to gain control of the front entrance and ascertaining the location of the emergency exits. Not that many support pillars are there. Guess that's why the ceiling is a bit low. Having grown absorbed in analyzing the building, I don't even notice the tug at my sleeve. Until the final excuse me of many finally catches my ear. I drop my gaze in the direction of the voice and find a girl in housemaid clothes looking up at me. Not that she's of particularly diminutive height, except in comparison to a taller male like me. No one's going to admit that they're an intruder if you ask them point blank. The maid nods several times, slowly closes her eyes, and begins to repeat my words. Flexible thinking isn't your strong suit, clearly. No, never mind. So, what does a maid want with me? This will be the second time today I've heard that pickup line. You're a lot tougher than you look, maid.
小峰さん、ちょうどよかった。こちらが今度転入することになった風見くんよ。
At this point, having noticed her voices, the principal calls out to the girl. It seems this maid was Komine all along.
やっぱりあなたが転入生さんだったんですね。
I'm Kazami Yuuji. Good to meet you.
はい、こちらこそよろしくお願いします。
I don't think you introduced yourself.
あ、すみません。下の名前はサチです。よろしくお願いします。
And this time, it's nothing but the first time. Name. I had this thought earlier with the other two, but you've certainly gathered some unique elites here.
学生の個性を伸ばすのが学園の役目だから。
Which would mean that she's a student too?
小峰さんはこの学園の1年生よ。あなたには小峰さんが教壇に立つような年に見えた？
That's not really my point of confusion here. Our uniform creates certain preconceptions. For example, if I see a girl wearing bunny ears in a bar, I don't ask what she's done with her Bible. Oh.
小峰さんは普段からメイド服でいることが多いから。
That's not an explanation.
確かにそうね。それじゃあ小峰さん、説明してあげて。わかりました。私はクラス委員を任されている関係で、よく先生方のお手伝いや雑用をお願いされることが多いのですが。 なんだかメイドさんみたいだねという話からちょっとメイド服着てみなよと促され。
So class representatives
実
wear
際着てみ
maid
たらやっぱり
outfits.
似合うからなるべく普段から着た方がいいよと提案されたので、なるべく普段からメイド服を着るように心がけています。
I see. You're a devoted one. That fallen bunny girl sister could learn a thing or two from you.
はい、ありがとうございます。
I wasn't really intending that to be a compliment, but there's no point in telling her that.
じゃあここからは彼女に案内してもらって、その方が話もできていいでしょう。
No objections.
それじゃあ小峰さん、あとはお願いね。わかりました。それではまず1階から案内していきますね。
Yeah, if you would. The maid slowly begins to walk, but quickly comes to a stop in front of the management room. Stop dead. She's staring at me with an expression that clearly indicates that she has something to say. What's wrong? You need something?
あなたのことを何とお呼びしたらいいのか聞き忘れていました。
Come to think of it, you're right.
すみません。
Well, you can call me whatever you want.
それでしたらゆうくんと呼ばせていただいてもよろしいでしょうか。
We've gotten pretty familiar all of a sudden.
では風見さんというのはいかがでしょう。
Sure. Anyway, I'll call you Sachi.
サチ。
My bad. Would Sachimon be better?
いえ、サチで構いませんよ。
Her expression didn't change in the slightest, but her eyes at the moment she spoke those words had a strange forcefulness. That's so. Alright, Sachi, best regards and all that.
はい。
Judging from her smile, it seems she doesn't dislike being called Sachi.
それでは早速なのですが、寮に入って最初に見えるこの部屋が風見さんのお部屋になります。
Nameplate seems to say it's the management room, though.
学園長さんのお話では、風見さんには寮長を兼ねてこの部屋に住んでほしいとのことでしたけど。
In other words, she wants me to play the prison guard? Well, at the very least, 3 out of the 6 students living in this dorm are females. It would probably be prudent to have a room as far as possible from theirs to avoid potential trouble. Mind if I take a look inside?
はい。これが部屋の鍵です。どうぞ。
When I open the door with the key she hands me, a prominently placed set of kitchen and household goods catches my eye. They seem to be in good shape, and I can confirm with a glance that the room itself will be a more than adequate living environment given my needs.
この寮のすべての部屋には火災報知器が1つと2つのスプリンクラーが設置されています。
Got it. She seems to have guessed my thoughts from the direction of my gaze.
そこは1畳半ほどのウォークインクローゼットになっていると聞いています。
As a little test, I focus my eyes on a different point of interest, and she provides an explanation in the same way. Although she's a little off in some departments, she seems to be pretty sharp in other respects. I see. Looks like there won't be any problems. As I speak, I twist the faucet over the sink. Was someone using this room before I came?
いいえ、少なくとも4ヶ月は誰も使っていなかったはずですが。
The water's pretty clear, considering.
まあ、建物自体新しいですし、風見さんがいらっしゃる前はこの部屋を倉庫代わりに使用することもあったので、その時に誰かが水道を使っていたのかもしれません。私も時々お掃除の時にバケツの水を汲むために使っていましたから。
I see. I twist the faucet to stop the water, drop the luggage I've been carrying on the spot, and promptly leave the room.
それから玄関を入って正面のスペースはみんなの共有の場所になっています。
The standard student dorm community space, is it?
はい。マキちゃんやアマネさんなんかはよくここで過ごしていますよ。
That's so. Although I haven't heard those names before, they must be other students.
それから風見さんの部屋の隣はボイラー室。その正面が階段で、その奥には4つの部屋があって、階段の隣の3号室が私の部屋になります。
I'd heard there are 11 rooms in total. Any reason why you picked one on the first floor?
それは私の名前がサチなので、さっちゃんなら3号室でしょと。
I get the idea.
ここが2階です。2階は基本的に部屋のみの構造となっていて、私以外の学生さんは全員この階に住んでいます。
Which would mean 2 of these are vacant.
7号室と9号室は現在空き部屋になっています。3階はこの大浴場をはじめとした戦闘的な構造になっています。階段の反対側にはコインランドリーや物干しスペースもあるので、必要な時に利用してください。もし洗濯自体が苦手なようでしたら、私に言っていただければ代行しますので。
Wouldn't taking care of someone else's chores be a nuisance?
クラス委員ですから。
Alright, I'll keep that offer in mind.
はい。
There's no reason to refuse outright when the offer is delivered with such an earnest smile. By the way, can we use this grand bathroom as we please?
はい。清掃は専門の業者さんが定期的にやってくれているので、清掃中以外は24時間利用可能です。ただ、男湯と女湯に分かれているわけではないので、風見さんが入浴する際は入り口にこの札をかけるようにしてください。
As she speaks, she hands me a card that reads, "In use, male bathing." Sure, I think I might take advantage of it pretty often. The view up here is pretty nice.
そうですね。周りには校舎の他に高い建物もないですし、ガラスの透過率も 75% ですから、海面に沈む夕日を眺めることもできますよ。
Oh, that's pretty. An ocean view, huh? Not bad.
ご希望ならすぐに入ることもできますけど。
As she speaks, I notice that she's already holding a towel and change of clothes in her hand. You're pretty well prepared.
この大浴場を見た大体の人はすぐに入ってみたくなるみたいなので。
I see. The fruit of your experience, is it? What's wrong?
風見さんのための着替えではなく、私の着替えを持ってきてしまいました。
As if to demonstrate, female underwear slips out from among the clothes in Sachi's hand. Is this a declaration that you want to bathe together?
いえ、そのつもりはありませんでした。すみません。
I really don't think there's anything to apologize for.
ありがとうございます。
She just mixed up the
これ
laundry.
で寮の案内は終わりになりますが、何か質問はありますか？
Let's see, can I ask about something other than the dorm?
私に答えられることでしたら。
In that case, let's hear your 3 sizes, Sachi.
はい、上から82、56、83です。
At the moment, is there a specific man you're going out with?
いません。
Your experience with men to date?
ありません。
I know I'm the one who asked you those questions, but answering them so politely, would that also be because you're the class representative?
クラス委員はみんなの役に立ってこそのクラス委員ですから。
What an admirable devotion to customer service.
ありがとうございます。他に質問はありますか？
Nothing comes to mind.
わかりました。もし他に聞きたいことができたら、部屋にある内線電話で3番を押してください。私の部屋につながるので。
Got it.
それでは私はこれで失礼しますね。
With that note of farewell, Sachi bows like a genuine housemaid and starts to turn away. Ah, Sachi.
はい。
Thanks for the tour. I appreciate it.
はい。
The class representatives these days seem to be a surprisingly tough-willed breed. After Sachi's tour ended, I took another look around the interior of the building on my own. Wow. By the time I returned to my room, the sun is already low in the sky and the light growing dim. I should probably put this stuff away before it gets dark. Opening my backpack, I pull out the contents and begin to put them away on the shelves I've been provided with. It's a real help that I've got a closet. Things I can leave in a visible place and things to be stowed away in the back. Dividing my possessions between the two, the latter are clearly more numerous. Normal, huh? While looking over my mountain of luggage, I mutter in a self-deprecating tone. As I work, the sun sinks leisurely into the sea. Great. There. F4 turns on the auto and F5 turns it off. Something like that. Okay. That's good. So it just played the next line. I had to stop the auto so it wouldn't go on. And I'm going to end right there. Okay, that is the beginning of Fruit of Grisaia. Bye.